All right, in this lesson, we're going to finish things off by exporting our game project out of Godot to an HTML5 or a web page file, and then publishing our game online to a popular indie game website called itch.io, where our game will actually be playable online in a web browser without even having to download it. Although we can make our Windows version downloadable and for sale even if we like there as well. The first thing I need to do actually in Godot is change my render engine. In Godot, there are 3 render engines available to you, and when we first created this project in the very first few lessons of this course, we selected a render engine called Forward Plus. Forward Plus gives us access to all the graphical bells and whistles to make a great looking game for a computer running a desktop operating system like Windows or Mac OS or Linux. However, there are other choices here as well for other classes of devices, like mobile devices, which might not be able to handle the same level of graphic fidelity as a whole gaming computer might. So we can turn down the quality just a little bit here. The same thing goes with compatibility mode. If you want to make a game that'll run on an older device or in a web browser like we're doing here, you need to choose compatibility. So I'm going to switch my render engine over here to compatibility, and Godot will need to actually restart and launch using this compatibility renderer. So I'll go ahead and press save and restart. It'll go ahead and quit and then reload. And as you can see, we get a few messages when Godot reopens about some things that will not be compatible in terms of lighting and shadows and reflections that we just can't have in a web browser game. But right now I should be able to go ahead and play my game project. So go ahead and press play. And as we can see, the title or menu screen looks pretty much exactly the same. But if I go ahead into a 3D level, here's where things are turned a little bit down. There are no shadows, there are no reflections. The ambient occlusion, the shadowing in little tight crevices that I turned on earlier in this course, well, they're gone, but we can play our game just as we normally would. Now, with a little bit of practicing, I actually discovered that with my project, there's an additional little error which we can get a hint of right now on the screen by the fact that all of my tile blocks in my grid map look a little bit darker. What's going on here? Well, after a little trial and error, and after actually practicing and exporting this game project out to a web page, and then I actually published the game online privately to itch.io, I discovered that my game blocks were actually totally invisible and not just dark like they are right now in my 3D viewport. So what's going on here? Well, after a little trial and error, I discovered that because we exported these blocks from Blender, complete with their materials, that something about the way that Blender sometimes sets up materials isn't quite compatible with compatibility mode. Don't worry, it's an easy fix in this case. If I go on over to my grid map, this is how we set up all of the tiles that we were able to paint using a tile set of all the blocks that we modeled and textured inside of Blender. If I go over to my grid maps mesh library, I can expand that mesh library. So I'll go ahead and click on it to expand it out. And if I go into any of the items, because all the items share the same 2 materials, the purple sides without any texturing on them at all, and then the top surfaces with the bumpy material, those 2 materials don't work properly, and there's one little setting to change. I simply need to go into the mesh library's items, and in any of the items, I'll go into item 0, which I believe is the block, although we can change it for one and it'll change it for all, again, because they all use the same 2 materials. If I go into that block's mesh, if I expand that mesh out, you can see that it has 2 surfaces, 2 materials. If I go into surface 0 first and expand it out, you can see that here is my material on that surface. It's just a plain purple material. But if I dive into that material, yes, we're diving many layers deep here. If I actually go into the settings of that material, all I have to do here is under vertex color, turn off use as albedo. I'll go ahead and turn that off. And you can see here that the color is fixed. So I'll go ahead and do the same exact thing for the top bumpy material as well. It's as simple as collapsing this material in surface 0 and then going into surface 1 and then diving into that material settings where I can find the same vertex color section and turn off use as albedo like that. and it seems to be fixed. So if I go ahead and press Control S to save, and then I might as well select some other node to hide that panel at the side of my 3D viewport. If I now go up and press play to play my game, you should see that when I play my game, all of the tile textures now look as they should. Great. To export our game project out to an HTML5 web page file, I need to, of course, make sure that I first have my export templates installed. I did this in the last lesson, although if you skip that, make sure that you go up to Editor and then Manage Export Templates here, and then you'll need to make sure that you have your export templates installed and ready to use. If you don't, you'll go ahead and click Download and Install, and it'll go ahead and download and install an 800 megabyte or so package containing all of the components you need to export to any type of project that you want to from Godot. Once you've done that, like in the last lesson, make sure that under your project and project settings, under your display window settings, that you have the resolution or the size of your game window the way that you want. And I recommend that you change your stretch mode from, what was it, disabled to canvas items, and you turn off resizable here. Okay. Once you've done all that, we'll go back up to project and then export, where we can export our game to an HTML5 web page file by clicking this add button and then choosing 5 web. That 5 stands for HTML5. HTML, hypertext markup language, is a coding language you use to make simple web page files. If I go ahead and select this option, and I might want to go ahead and actually remove the Windows Desktop Runnable configuration here. So I'll go ahead and select it and press the little trash can to get rid of it. With that option selected, I need to make sure that I have all of my export settings correct. Although luckily for us, because we're using itch.io, we don't have to change much here at all. In fact, all I'm going to do here is go down to Export Project, and then I'll choose where I want to actually export all of my web page files out to. I'm not going to export out to my project folder. Instead, I'll press this up button here to go back out to my desktop, where I'll create a new empty folder. I'm going to call this Web Game V1 for version 1, and I'll go ahead and press OK. Inside of that Web Game V1 folder, I'm going to export to a file, and you need to make sure that you name this file exactly like me. It should be named index with no capital letters .html. You need to make sure that you name it exactly that way with your own .html at the end, and we'll turn off this option export with debug. So I'll turn it off, and then I'll press save. That's it. It actually exported an HTML file and all of the associated web page files. We can go ahead now and press close, and I'll save and minimize Godot, where on my desktop I have that folder called Web Game Version 1. In that folder is that index.html file, which is a web page file. There's also a file called index.wasm. This is what's called a WebAssembly file, which is what actually contains most of our game, which is why it's the largest file here by default. Mine is about 28 megabytes, which is pretty big. Now, some of you might be thinking, hey, this index.html is simply a web page file, and in fact, on my computer, it has a Google Chrome icon. Can I just go ahead now and double click on this file and play my game in a web browser? Well, if you do that, it's not going to work. Unfortunately, WebAssembly-based games are only designed to play from a web server and not from your own local computer. This is for security reasons, I believe, so we need to put all of these files onto a web server. Luckily, itch.io makes this incredibly easy. If you're not aware, itch.io is an incredibly popular indie game website where you can play and post and even buy and sell indie games and assets. You should definitely check it out. It's a standard process to sign up for your own account at itch.io, pretty much like any other website. And once you have your own account, you can go up to your menu and choose Upload New Project for your game. Once you do that, you'll be presented with a form to fill out about your game and to upload your game files. I'll go ahead and type in my game's name, 3D platformer game, like that. Once you type in a title for your game and then you click in the next box, it'll use your game's title for the end of the web address or the URL where your game will be playable online. You should probably go ahead and type a description in for your game. What we're uploading here is a game, so we'll leave the classification as a game and not some other sort of game asset or mod or something like that. Next up is the kind of project. Our game is going to be playable right in a web browser. It's a web game, so I'm going to change the kind of project here from downloadable to HTML, like that. Is this game a complete finished version of the game? If so, you can leave it as a released game. You can also use in development or on hold. You can sell your game on itch.io. I'll go ahead and leave this game as $0 or donate, and I'll leave the suggestion at $2. Next up, we need to upload our game project files to itch.io. To do this, we need to put all of our game files into a zip file. So I'm going to go ahead back onto my computer, and I'm going to select all of the files in my web game version 1 folder. I'm not going to zip the entire folder itself. Instead, I'm going to select all of the files directly, and I'm going to zip them directly into a zip file. So with all of these files selected in Windows, I can go ahead and right click on them, and in Windows, you can zip a file by going to the Send To menu and then choosing Compressed Zipped Folder. It'll make a zip file out of all of those files that you had selected right away. And I'm going to name this file something appropriate like Web Game V1, and I'll press Enter. It's this zip file that I'm going to upload to itch.io. So I'll go back to itch.io and I'll click on that button that says Upload Files. And then on my desktop here, I'll go into my web game version 1 folder where that zip file is right here. I'll select it and press Open. It'll upload the zip file, and I need to check this option that says this file will be played in the browser. So I'll go ahead and check that. The embed options are important here. My game is going to be played in a web browser directly on one of itch.io's pages. So I need to get the viewport dimensions correct here for my game. So I'm going to flip back over into the Godot editor to remind myself under the project settings, under display and window on the general tab, the resolution or size of my game, 1152 by 648. I'll remember that. So when I go back to itch.io, that was, I'll have to delete this value first, 1152 by, what was that second number again? I'll flip back over into Godot, 648. I'll flip back over to itch.io. I'll delete that value and 648. And there we go. I should turn on automatically start on page load. And new with Godot 4, you have to check this option called shared array buffer support. Yes, enable that. You need it. And go ahead and write a description or more details about your game project if you like. There's a spot for your game's genre. I'll go ahead and choose platformer. For tags, I'm going to enter in, because I'm proud that I made this game in Godot, I'll type in Godot. I think I have to press enter here. There we go. I think I'll also add in Godot engine like that and press enter. Are there any more options here that I need? App Store links, custom noun, community, visibility, and access. This last one here is the important one. If you don't want your game to be visible on the internet publicly, leave this option as draft or restricted. I'll go ahead and leave this as draft until I'm sure that it's working properly. So I'm going to go ahead and press save now. And once I do that, I can go up to the very top and press View Page. When I do that, the game will launch for the very first time. There'll be a little scroll bar as it's loading. And if it works, there it is. My game works on itch.io. I can go ahead and press play. Maybe I spoke too soon. Does it work properly? There it is. The game takes a few moments to load because it has to load that WASM file, but as you can see, my game works. Because I fixed those materials earlier on in this lesson to make sure that they weren't going to show up as transparent for the grid map blocks of my game level, I can see them. That's good. I can go ahead and play my game, collect coins, jump on and squash or get hurt by enemies in my case. There it is. We have our game online at itch.io. Perfect. One thing you might want to do is head on up to your dashboard where you can see a list of all of your game projects and you can edit them from here as well. You can see that I don't have an image for my game yet, so I'm going to go back and edit my game. On the right-hand side here, I can upload a cover image, which I happen to have one, a simple screenshot of my game that I'll go ahead on my desktop and select and open. And so now I have an image for my game. I'll go ahead and press save, and there you have it. So here we are at the end of this 29-part video course on how to create a 3D platformer game in the Godot game engine. I want to take a second and thank all the creators of the content that we used to create this 3D game, including the original creator of our little robot character, Kenny.nl, for creating the music that we use in our game. And lastly, I'd like to thank you, the viewer, who hopefully followed along with me in creating this 3D platformer game. And in doing so, both hopefully you and definitely me have learned something along the way. I definitely learned a whole lot while making this online course and recording all of these videos. But now I'm going to turn the last job over to you. You've spent the last, dozens of hours, let's say, following along with me, creating this game with me, but I have not seen any of your games yet. It's been almost 2 years since I recorded all of these video lessons, but I am truly, honestly eager to see what you have come up with for your own 3D platformer game. So please take these last steps and put your game online. Comment below with a link to your 3D platformer game, either downloadable or playable online. I would love to check it out and play it for myself, and leave a comment on your game. Do take this last step and publish your game on itch.io so I can check out and see what you've done. It really means a lot to me. Anyways, this is Colin signing out. Thanks so much for watching these last 29 videos. Please keep on blending and Godoting. I'll see you in my next course. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.